First of all, welcome. Thank you for coming. Welcome to Green Capital's The Phoenix Effect. Before we go any further, we would like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of this land. We would also like to pay respects to the elders, both past and present, and to extend that respect to other Indigenous Australians present here today. My name's Andrew. I am the program manager at Green Capital, along with my colleague Sylvia. We both came on board in January. As you can probably tell, those of you who are familiar with Green Capital as a 10-year-old program, we've made a few changes. It looks a bit different, and in terms of what we're going to be doing from now on, that's looking a bit different too. Sylvia will go into some more details about that in a minute. I just wanted to sort of introduce to you our major new project. It's called the Sustainable Economic Frontiers Project. It's very much within the same sort of areas what we're looking at today with the Phoenix Effect, and in fact the Phoenix Effect is something of a sort of a launch of a much broader sort of set of stuff we're going to be looking at. I feel like I should say, look, I'm standing here, a young person in my late 20s without decades of business experience in front of a room of people who do have decades of business experience. So I'm going to speak from where I stand as a young person entering the workplace who's passionate about sustainability and passionate about what I do, because I think that's key. I want to express the fact that I am truly optimistic. In a world where people seem to talk about doom and gloom and all the rest of it when you talk about sustainability, I see some really, really exciting stuff happening out there. And I'm truly exhilarated by things that are really starting to take shape around us globally and a bit in Australia. So, look, make no mistake, I understand the seriousness of the challenges that face us, but I think that there are some things coming together. I was referring to it as a sort of a perfect storm, whereby we have new things, technologies, collaborations that are enabling people to connect in new ways like never before, coming together with the great problems of our times. And there are some real winds of change. This is what we're getting at with Sustainable Economic Frontiers. We've just had a decade of sort of one-size-fits-all sustainability, CSR. What we're seeing now is something new, something very diverse. I just wanted to touch on a few things just from media reports the last few days that I think speak to this, just to contextualise what we're getting at here. So on Monday, the Australian Climate Commission brought out a report saying we need to scale back the fossil fuel industry in Australia. It's the first time that government agencies ever said anything like that. We're yet to see where that goes. At the same time, we've got the World Heritage Commission just met in Cambodia again on Monday. They're probably going to put the Great Barrier Reef on a danger listing next year. That's never happened to anything in Australia. Usually it's countries like Syria, war zones that have that sort of thing happen. They said under no uncertain terms, unless ideas around building coal ports on the Queensland coast are changed, then that's what will happen. In China, the largest, sort of second largest carbon trading scheme in the world after the EU was launched 2 days ago, I think. Maybe Freddie will touch on it. In India, on Monday, they've just unveiled first of 7 solar thermal projects that will be comparable, I'm told by my colleagues at BZE, in scale to some of the stuff that is being talked about but is not yet by any means set in stone in Australia. So we're looking at places, India and China they're leading the way in some of this stuff now. And we can no longer afford, I remember, for years people have been saying, oh, yeah, but what about India and China? Well, India and China, they're showing leadership that politicians in Australia have yet to show. And finally, something I really liked on Monday, on Monday, in the US, there was a conference of city mayors, I think it was nearly 50 of them, from around the country, came together and signed an agreement around resilience strategies for local government. This is local government saying, look, we've had enough, there's not enough leadership at state and national level. We want adaptation, mitigation stuff around climate at local government level. It's 48 mayors, I think. So that's just from the last 3 days. And if you look, this stuff's happening now. There are a bunch of discourses, some of which we talk about on that IP, and it might sound a bit sort of cerebral. It might sound a bit like it's very widespread. It's very diverse. It's almost sort of bewildering, baffling to kind of make sense of. But actually, that diversity is something we see as really key. And what we're wanting to do with the Sustainable Economic Frontiers project is to start to map it, start to make sense of it, to understand where these linkages are between things that are happening at the top, whether it's Richard Branson launching Team B last week, and you've got business leaders really sort of starting to show leadership around this, and the same with the Circular Economy 100 that was launched at Davos back in January. There are heads of global corporations putting pen to paper and really road testing things. This is not just ideas, this is action, this is real things happening. And at the same time, from the bottom up, we've got this collaborative culture, this collaborative consumption, we've got a resurgence of grassroots action that is intersecting with this top-down stuff. I think it's really telling that we've got people of global influence, whether it's people, heads in the World Bank, the chief economist of the IEA, saying that we need to phase out the fossil fuel industry. This was last week. We had a Stern report back in April, again echoing that, and that again was echoed by the Australian Climate Commission on Monday. A week after Bill McKibben leaves the country and people are saying, oh, you're a crazy radical. He's not. The chief economist of the IEA is echoing Bill McKibben. So this is some of the stuff we're starting to see, even in the world of finance. The director of financial stability at the Bank of England, just last week I think it was making statements about how crowdfunding is going to play a significant role in the future of finance. So there's a lot more that could be said about this, and this is why we're here today. This is what we're hoping to sort of start to unpack as we listen to our panel and to Sam's keynote address. I'm going to pass over to Sylvia now, and she's going to talk us through a little more about what we're doing in Green Capital and the changes we've made there.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sylvia, and like Andrew said, I'll be talking you through the new Green Capital program. So, as he already mentioned, we've done a lot of rebranding and restructuring of the program over the last couple of months. When we first came on board back in January, we really asked 2 questions. We were like, okay, first of all, what do we need to do to make this program successful? And second of all, what do people want from us? What do we need to provide, and what can we deliver so that you guys get what you need out of it? And to hopefully meet everyone's needs, we came up with 5 sub-brands that make up the new Green Capital program. The first one is Frontiers. All our IP will be published under Frontiers in the future, as well as the big project, the Sustainable Economic Frontiers project that Andrew is mainly working on, will be situated under this umbrella. And he has already given you a good overview on that one. The second one is network. The network really is the core of our program. So if there is no network, we won't really have a program at the end of the day. So what we want to do is we want to have a very people-centered approach. We want to reach out to people and leverage change by building a movement. So the more people we can get interested into it, and the more people we can get involved into the program, the bigger and better the opportunities will be that we can provide for you. The third sub-brand is the forum events. Those ones are our traditional events that you know that Green Capital has been putting on for years, for the last 10 years. And today's event is one of those programs. So they will still be happening in the future, a couple of them a year. What we're working on at the moment, though, is our very new exciting event series, Hothouse, which will have a completely different approach to the Frontiers events. It will be a way more interactive event series that happens on a monthly basis, and it will start in 2014. So our aim there is to reach out to mainly young professionals from all over, like all different industries, may it be media, architecture, building, banking, not necessarily just get people who are already working in sustainability or environment, but really get people who are working in all different industries out there, but who just have a really big interest in sustainability and in what's happening. And what we want to do is we want to provide an exciting and dynamic space somewhere in between of TEDx and Green Ups where people can come together. But it's more than just a coming together, I guess. We just want to provide them with a unique experience. And last but not least, we will have MasterClasses, which will come out of the Sustainable Economic Frontiers project. And this will be a space for workshopping ideas that will originate either in the project or in our network. Talking about the future of green capital, we really see us as a think and do tank. So we don't just want to talk about things, but we obviously want to make things happen. And what we want to do is action as a platform and give people really the knowledge and also the connections that they need to make the change in whichever industry they are working in. So today's event, the Phoenix Effect, how the sun is rising on new sustainable economic frontiers. We've also got a Twitter feed going for that, so feel free to Twitter. It's hashtag the Phoenix Effect or hashtag Green Capital DEC. Chairing our event today is Maria Atkinson. Maria is director of XO and also a member of various boards and advisory groups. Maria was awarded a member of the General Division of the Order of Australia as a leader and contributor to environmentally sustainable building development in Australia. Please welcome to the stage Maria Atkinson.